Okay, let's talk Zotero. Get started with Zotero, you need to download three things. First, download the Zotero standalone program for your computer. So that if you just Google Zotero.org, you'll be able to see this. This is what the application looks like, this little icon here. They make it for PC and for Mac. You can use the cloud version via Firefox, but I found it's much smoother if you have the downloaded program. Okay, so once you've done that, you need to also download the Google Chrome extension. So I'm in Google Chrome right now, and this is the extension icon here. If you don't know how to get to those, if you click on Window and then Extensions, it brings this tab up. And this is what we want, the Zotero connector. You can click Get More Extensions to find it. You also can just Google Zotero connector for Chrome, and you can install that. Once that's installed, you have two of the three things. The third piece is to download the Microsoft Word add-in for Zotero. That will give you this toolbar that I have here and be under the add-in tab. If you don't know how to find that, again, you can Google Word add-in, or I believe under Tools, let's see, Format, I think it's under Insert. Okay, Insert, Add-in, there it is. You can click and find the store in Microsoft Word as well. Okay, so that's the first step. Don't even keep watching the video until you have all three of those things downloaded and installed. If you're not seeing the toolbar pop up, just try Googling the issue you're seeing. Someone has always come up with a solution. I know it works a little differently on Macs and PCs. So it may not be exactly where mine is, but this is what the toolbar looks like. All right, you have all three things now. Now we're going to look at Zotero, the standalone. You can see I have a ton of citations here. Everything falls under my library. I highly recommend you start making some folders because this mess is not fun to look through. I do have folders, and when you click on my library, it just lumps it all in together. So I recommend starting off with your courses. That's what you're going to be writing for. So make a folder for each course that you're going to need to make to write any essays for. And then within each of these, you can make another folder or at least make maybe one for each assignment that you have, just to kind of keep them separate. So I'm going to add a new folder. To do that, I'm going to click this icon at the top here. All right, and I'm going to call it just test folder. Okay. All right, so here's my extra folder, and I can drag and drop these folders anywhere I want. So if I want them inside an existing folder, I can click it on top of that, and it makes it a subfolder. So let's move some things into my test folder. There are three ways to add something to your folder. I can do it completely manually, which is not my recommendation, but you can by clicking this plus button, and you can choose what it is. I can put a book, or if I go to more, if I want to put a journal article, I would click that. And all it does is it makes a citation that you will enter from scratch here. Now, in my opinion, you have to already have the PDF or the document in order to fill out this information, so you might as well do it the faster way. So I'm going to delete this, and I'll show you way number 2, which is much faster. I have a couple of documents here that I want to add citations for. Well, instead of adding them in manually, I'm going to just click and drag the PDF here, which is going to store a copy of that PDF. And I will right-click on it and click Retrieve Metadata for PDF. Now, if we're lucky, someone has entered all that information into the digital storage of this file. If not, we will still have to enter it by hand. So let's click it and cross our fingers. All right, so when I get this green check, that means it was able to find it. Remember, that does not mean all the information is correct. If you did nothing else and then went to Microsoft Word, your citation's not going to be correct. It's only as correct as the metadata attached to it. So let's take a look over here. This is indeed a journal article. I don't need to change that, but the title is half in caps lock. I don't want that. I'm going to right-click or control-click and transform my text to sentence case. And just make sure, remember, it does not make the letter after a colon capitalized, so I have to fix that. Okay, and this one apparently has, look what it did. It added a lot of extra words here. If I'm not sure what the full title is, this sounds pretty redundant here. So I'm going to double click on it and open it up and check. So it has common characteristics of writing interventions for students with learning disabilities, a synthesis of the literature. That's where it should end. I'm going to delete all this extra stuff. That's why it's really important to check. Once that's fixed, I check about my authors. I check the publication, volume, issue, page, date. I also want to check that there is a DOI. If you don't see a DOI that was pulled in, I always check the article first. And in this case, it's printed right on the article. I can copy paste it. If you don't see it on the article, you're going to need to go find it. And I'll show you an example of that in a second. So once it's all set, I have it in there. So that is way number 2. I'm going to show you an example though. Sometimes when you right click on it, it does not give you that information. So I'm going to pull in this Eddie Byrne article that I know does not have any metadata because I tried it already. So I'll right click on it. I click retrieve metadata, fingers crossed, and big red X. That means I have to add in all the information by hand. So to do that, I'm going to right click on it. I'm not going to make you watch me add it by hand, but I'm going to click create parent item, and that will now make the citation for me, and underneath it is that article. So I can add everything. Remember to change the type. This is a journal article. I'll have to open up the actual document to find all the information. Your third option for adding something to Zotero is going to be useful to you if you are doing a search for your articles on the library, on the library website or on Google Scholar, and you want to enter it right away before you download all the articles. So let's go over to Google Chrome. I'm in Milner Library here, and remember your Google Chrome extension is right here. It's either going to be a folder if there are multiple studies on the page, or if there's just a single document on the page, it'll look like a document up here. So I already searched for something, visual impairment and evidence-based practice. And I'm going to pick one of these. I'll just pick this top one here because I see it has a full text. I'll go ahead and click it. All right. And now I can see that it's turned to a document. So I'm going to click that. And it's going to extract the information and download everything right to Zotero. And there it is. And if I click that little arrow, I can see it did attach also. It attached the actual PDF to the citation. You're not done. You have to go through and change it to sentence case. Sometimes you're lucky and it was entered correctly. Sometimes it was not. I went through and I see everything and there's no DOI. So I'm going to copy my title over. And I'm going to go to Crossref. Let me go back to the beginning so you can see what it looks like. Whoops. One more. Okay. Search metadata. And any information I have about the article, even if it's the full citation, you can enter it in here. There we go. I'm going to paste it in and see if we can find it. All right. So evidence-based communication practices, I don't see it. Let me get a little more information. I see that it's 2008. So let's narrow that search down to 2008. Journal articles. Now let's see if it comes up. I'm still not seeing it. Just leave it. So everything is here. I want to show you, see how this says EBSCO full text? I probably don't want my files named that way on my computer because it's not giving me any good information about that article. What if it names all of them that way? So if I right click on that, I can rename the file from parent metadata, and it's going to rename the article for me based on what the citation is. Okay, so what we have here are 3 different ways that you can import information into Zotero. I will make a new video, so this one is not super long, that shows you now how to use this information and enter it into Microsoft Word.